Hey, it's Anne Marie with Speak Confident English, and welcome to the very first Confident English lesson of 2019. To help you get started on the right track with your English at the beginning of the year, when I know you have a lot of motivation and energy, maybe you've committed to really changing your English this year. We're going to talk about how to be assertive in English. And here's why it's such a fantastic skill for you to have in English. Did you know that when you are assertive, it can help you to manage stress and negative emotions, deal with uncomfortable situations and conversations, and effectively communicate or express yourself? Plus, if you feel overwhelmed and you have too many responsibilities because you feel really bad saying no to someone, you're not sure how to say no in English politely, or you're just nervous about how to ask for what you really want. Again, being assertive in English will help you do all of that. And that sounds pretty amazing. Now, the truth is, being assertive isn't easy for everyone. Some people are naturally more assertive than others. Some of us, like me, have a harder time being assertive. Again, we might feel bad about asking for what we want, saying no to someone, or we just feel really uncomfortable when there's a stressful discussion or someone disagrees with us. But the good news is, being assertive is a skill that you can learn, and it gets easier as you practice. That's exactly what we're going to focus on in today's lesson. To get started, we're going to talk about what it means to be assertive, and then I'll share with you 5 strategies that you can use to communicate in a polite but assertive way and do it with confidence. When you use these strategies, it'll help you in situations like saying no to a client that wants to have a late meeting, which means you'd miss a concert at your child's school. Or it will help you to ask for what you really need or want from a colleague at work without feeling bad about it. You'll be able to manage stress at work and say no to additional responsibilities by creating clear boundaries. And finally, it will help you to deal with negative situations where someone disagrees with you or there's a lot of tension in the conversation and still express yourself effectively. At each step in this lesson, with the strategies I share with you, I'll also provide examples and the language that native speakers use so that you can use it as well. So what does it mean to be assertive? Being assertive is the ability to communicate in a confident and calm way, even in tense or difficult situations. When someone else might be pushy or rude or aggressive at work, it means you're able to respond in a respectful, calm way without any aggression, without negative emotion, and without having to apologize. And finally, it means being able to say no, to speak directly and clearly about what you want or what your limits are, without sounding angry or aggressive, and again, without feeling badly or having to apologize. All of that is essential for clear, confident communication. In previous Confident English lessons, I've talked a lot about being polite and being diplomatic, how to use modals to soften language, and that is an essential skill to have. Native English speakers love being diplomatic and using softer language. But the truth is, sometimes we have to be more direct and clear, but we still want to be polite. So let's look at 5 strategies that will help you do that in English. Strategy number 1 for how to be more assertive in English is to use statements that start with I, such as I want, I believe, or I need. For example, this sentence, I need that report by 5 p.m. Or I'm certain that I'm the best choice for this position. The second strategy is to avoid words that undervalue or remove importance from what you're saying. Let me show you what I mean about words to avoid. If I need to talk to a colleague about something important, I could send an email or say something like, I just want to talk to you about, or I could remove the word just and be more assertive by saying something like, I need to talk to you today. When would be a good time? Using the word just undervalues or undermines what we're saying. It tells people that what we want to say isn't really important. So when we remove it, our language is much clearer, it's more direct and more assertive. Here's another example. Let's imagine that a friend of mine borrowed a suitcase from me about a year ago, and I really want it back because I'm going on vacation. So I could, again, send an email or say something like, I'm so sorry to bother you, but could I have my suitcase back? That is a super polite way to ask for something that we want, but it's also passive and indirect. Using the word sorry in that way, again, removes the importance of what we're saying. If we want to be more effective, more direct about what we want, we need to remove the word sorry. And instead, we could say something like, I need that suitcase back. When can I pick it up? It's still polite, but it's very direct and focused. In English, we have several words that we can easily remove to make our language more assertive and sound more confident. In the online lesson, I've given you more examples of words that you can avoid and what you should say instead. Strategy number 3 might surprise you. Avoid modal verbs, such as could, should, might, and would. Now, I'll be honest, I love modal verbs. Native speakers use them all the time. They help us soften the language, be more diplomatic, and they're certainly polite. But when we need to be assertive, when we need to be direct and clear about what we need or what we want, it's better to avoid those modal verbs. Instead, we can use a word like will, or simply use words such as I need, I want. And here's an example. Instead of asking someone, would it be possible for you to get that report to me by the end of the day? You could say, will you get that report to me by the end of the day? Or when will you get that report to me? Just that little change is much more direct and efficient when it's something that's very important to you and that you really need or want. Strategy number 4 is use statements with when and I feel to explain how someone else's decisions or actions affect you. Maybe there's a negative situation going on at work, a colleague is always late, or someone always interrupts you when you're speaking, and you want that to stop. The best way to express that is to use when with I feel. Here's an example. When you interrupt me in business meetings, I feel disrespected and that my opinion doesn't matter. Or when you come late to work several days in a row, I feel that you're not taking your job seriously. Using those when plus I feel statements removes the negativity. It removes any anger or frustration from what you're saying, but you're very clear and still polite about the situation and what needs to change. Strategy number 5 is to create clear boundaries. What that means is to be direct about what you can or can't do, or what you will or won't do. And it means you don't have to apologize for it. Here's an example. I can meet with you Wednesday morning, but Thursday won't work this week. In that statement, it's very clear about what I'm able to do and what I'm not able to do. I don't apologize and I don't give unnecessary details. It's polite and it's very clear about what's possible. This strategy is particularly helpful when you're working with someone who might be pushy, rude, or aggressive, and you need to say no or set some clear limits. This is the best way to do it. So now that we have those 5 strategies, let's put them all together in 3 clear examples. In situation number 1, I could say to a friend, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I think I might need my suitcase back that I loaned you last year because I'm going on vacation next week. Yes, that's a polite way to request my suitcase back, but it's also really passive and indirect, and I'm using that word sorry, which removes the importance of what I'm saying. In fact, the word sorry should only be used when we're really apologizing for something. But the problem is, in this situation, the friend has had my suitcase for more than a year. I've already asked for it 3 times. So now I need to be direct and clear. A better way to do that is to say, I'll be on vacation next week and I need my suitcase back. When can I pick it up? That example is much clearer. It's more assertive, but it's still polite. In situation number 2, you'd like a day off to attend a training for work, and you've asked your boss about this several times, but you haven't heard anything, and this is the last week that you can register for this training. So you could say something to your boss like, I guess what I'm saying is I was hoping I might be able to go to this training on Friday, but I would need the day off. Again, perfectly polite, but in this example, we want to be more direct and assertive. You want to ask for exactly what you want and show how important it is. So we're going to avoid some of those modals and we're going to use much more direct language. So instead we could say, I want the day off on Friday to attend this work-related training that will help me to be a better team leader. I have to register by Friday this week. When would be a good time for you and I to talk about it? Perfectly polite, and it's very clear about what you need and how important it is. And finally, number 3, we're focused on a situation where there might be some aggression or frustration because a colleague has asked you to work late because of a mistake they made. So you could respond to your colleague by saying something like, I can't believe you're asking me to stay and work with you when it's your fault the project is late. Now I'm going to miss my daughter's concert at school. Yes, you could say that, but honestly, being aggressive is never a good idea. It doesn't help anyone and it doesn't solve any problems. It just makes everyone feel angrier. So instead, we can use these strategies of how to be more assertive and to set clear boundaries or say no without apologizing or feeling bad about it. So instead of that more aggressive reaction, I could simply say something like, I can help you for 30 minutes and then I have to go because my daughter has a concert at school. Clear, simple, still polite, and there's no aggression or anger. And now you have 5 useful strategies that you can use to be more assertive in English so that you can say no when you need to without apologizing or feeling bad. You can manage stressful and difficult conversations more easily, and you can express what's important to you or what you really want. As always, I do have some challenge questions for you so that you can immediately practice what you've learned in this lesson today. But before I share those questions, if you found this lesson useful to you, I would love to know. And there are 3 helpful ways that you can do that. You can give this video a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to this channel so you never miss a lesson. Share it with friends and colleagues on Facebook, and share your comments and answers to my questions in the comment section below the video. So here's your turn to practice. I've got 2 situations for you, and I want you to respond using these strategies in an assertive way in English. In situation number 1, you've been doing extra work and working longer hours for a month to help a disorganized colleague. And now it's really time to stop doing that extra work. You need to focus on your own projects and your own deadlines. So you need to tell your colleague in an assertive way that you're no longer able to help and work those extra hours. How could you use some of the strategies that you've learned today to do that in a clear but still polite way? And then in situation number 2, you let one of your neighbors borrow a book of yours 12 months ago, and you really want this book back. In fact, you've asked for it several times over the last year. Now it's time to be more assertive and clear about your want to get that book back. So again, how can you use these strategies to help you do that? The best way for you to share with me, get feedback, and learn from others in the Confident English community is to include your answers in the comment section at the end of the lesson. And with that, thank you so much for joining me today. I know that this week's lesson was a little bit longer than usual, but I believe that being assertive in English is an essential skill for clear, effective communication, and I want you to be able to do that in English. Again, being assertive isn't easy for everyone. It doesn't come naturally, but it's a skill that you can learn, and these strategies will help you do that. Have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you next time for your Confident English lesson.